Let's start off with 4 very simple concepts. So to begin with, in terms of object-oriented programming, we have blueprints which you can use to make a thing. And in terms of object-oriented programming, we know these as classes. So class, there you go. That's a class. It's a blueprint used to make a thing. Now the thing you make the blueprint with, so the thing the blueprint makes is an instance. And then we have description or traits of the thing. These are attributes. And then we have what the thing can do. And these, the things that the thing can do, these are methods. Let's have an example. So let's make a class, and we're going to call this class a building. And so imagine that we're making here a blueprint of a building. Okay. So right here, I've got myself a blueprint of a building. There it is. And let's say that this building has certain attributes. So we want to give this building attributes like it's going to have a certain height. And let's say that this building has a height of 2 meters because it's a very, very small building. Let's also say that this building, it has something that's made of. It has some materials. So the materials are going to be, it's going to be a wooden building, not very well made. There you go. And let's say that the building can do something. So maybe the building has rocket boosters on it, which it can use to blast off to space. So let's say blast off. There we go. And we've got to put this here too. And when we blast off, we're going to say, yay, blasting off, because blasting off is a lot of fun. And what we can do now is we can make a version of our building. So what we've done here effectively is we've made a blueprint of our building, which basically says that our building has a height of 2 meters or whatever else, that it's made of wood, and that the building can do something, it can blast off. So we've checked off each of these things. We've made a blueprint, which you can use to make a thing. We've got our class. We haven't got this yet because we haven't actually made it in real life. We've just got the blueprint. We've got a description or traits of the thing, such as height, materials, and the fact that it can blast off. But this blast off thing is also a method. So that's something the building can do. So attributes can be methods sometimes. But for now, we'll think of this as a method. And so now what we've got to do is actually make this thing in real life. So how about we do that? How about we have a hut equals building? There we go, hut equals building. And yeah, there we go. So now if we run this, pressing F5, we can see that we've run without any errors, and that's all well and good. So we've made a hut, no errors, that's great. But let's just check that our hut actually exists. So if we were to go hut.height, and if we were to print that, then we would see that we're actually going to print the height of the building. So there we go, we've printed 2 right there, which shows us that we've actually created a hut which has a height of 2. And then let's say we change this to materials. There we go. Off we go and run. Well, you can see there that it's made of wood, which is fantastic. And then if we were to go hut.blastoff, we could even make it do something. So let's do that. So we've made our hut in real life, and we've also made that hut blast off, which is really quite exciting. Yay. So the question is, so what? Well, one good thing about having this blueprint is that we can use it to make multiple buildings. So as well as making a hut, why don't we make a little house made of wood as well? House equals building. There we go. There's a little house. And why don't we do exactly the same thing as we've just done for the hut, only we're going to do it for house. So let's have house. There we go. Copy that and dump that down here as well. And run it. And then we've got, there we go. And it's happened twice. Made of wood and it blasts off. Now, that's all well and good, but actually we might want our houses to have slightly different attributes. So remember, these things here are attributes. We might want it to have slightly different attributes, which we choose on the spur of the moment when we actually instantiate the thing. So remember, we've got our blueprint right here, but right now our blueprint isn't actually that useful because it's kind of static. It's kind of stuck. We can't change that as we want to on the fly. So why don't we add another attribute, def init, and then self. There we go. And then in this function here, in this init function, which is initialize, that's what init stands for, we can decide what attributes we want to change. So for example, how about we allow height to be a thing that's inserted here, and also materials. There we go, materials. Got height and materials. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say self.height equals height. And then we're going to say self.materials equals materials. Well, what's the point of doing that? Well, basically, this word self means that this belongs to this class. So effectively, we're saying that height is something that belongs to this class. Well, why do we need to say height here? Because we've already got it there. Well, there is height that belongs to the class, but the problem is that that's static. We can't change that. But with this, we will be able to change it. Let me demonstrate what I mean. We're going to try and run this again, and we're going to run into an error. Why did this error happen? Well, because init is missing two required positional arguments, height and materials. You see, we've got this init function here, and whenever we try and instantiate now our building, whenever we try and turn this blueprint into a real building, such as a hut, we are calling init to do so. And it's missing two arguments, namely height and materials. So in order to instantiate this, we need to kind of include those two attributes in here. So let's do that. Let's say we want our hut to be 2 meters. And let's say we want it to be made of wood, because we don't want to blow our minds too much. And then what we're going to do is, for now, we're just going to comment out our house and forget that that exists. So off we go. Let's run it again. There we go. It's made of wood. Yay, that's fantastic. But that's exactly what we had before. We haven't actually changed anything. Well, let's change something now. Let's say we want a building that's 3 meters tall now, and we don't want it made of wood. It's going to be a very, very tall igloo. There we go. And off we go. And you can see now that we now have an igloo that's made of materials. Well, I should actually say snow rather than igloo. So let's say snow. There we go. Let's say snow. So we've got a hut which is 3 meters tall, made of snow. And what we're going to do is we're going to print hut.height just to prove that this has changed, hut.materials and hut.blastoff as well. So off we go. And now you can see that it's 3 meters tall, it's made of snow, and yay, that is exciting. And so what we've done here is we've made a building, which actually we're going to change this to igloo now as well. So we've made an igloo, which is made of snow, and it's 3 meters tall, and it can blast off, which we already know because that's there. So how about we do this now? How about we now make a house, which is a little bit taller than the igloo, maybe 5 meters tall. It's made of bricks. I build my house of bricks. There we go. And now let's print height and materials again. So we're going to take height, we're going to wang that under there, and let's run this once more. And now you can see that we have two completely different things. We have one thing, which is, oh, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Something's not right here. Oh, there you go. Igloo.height. That's why. Get rid of that. I should say house. There we go. Off we go. There we are. So now we've got an igloo, which is 3 meters tall, made of snow. That's this code here. And now we've also made a house, which is 5 meters tall and made of brick. And that's all of this stuff here. Now we've built both of these things using the same blueprint. So that's number 2 there. The thing made with the blueprint is an instance. And what we have here, igloo and house, are both instances of this class. If we wanted to, we could even make another instance of the class. So let's go ahead and do that. Why don't we have some flats? And that's going to equal building. That's going to be a lot taller than the house. That's going to be 20 meters tall. And let's make it from concrete. One of those nice big Plattenbau like in Germany. And let's steal this here. Like in former East Germany, I mean. Let's have flats. Here we go. Let's not bother with blast off this time. So now let's run this once more. And we've now got 3 buildings. We've got our igloo, we've got our house, and we've also got our block of flats, which we haven't yet blasted off. We've got house.blast off, and no, there's no blast off down here, so we haven't blasted off yet. So essentially what we've got is our blueprint, which we've used to make an igloo, a house, and a block of flats. And that is the foundation, if you like, of object-oriented programming. The fact that you use a blueprint to make a thing. Your class is your blueprint, where you can actually get rid of this now. We don't need this anymore. Our class is where we define our attributes and methods. So traits the thing's going to have and anything the thing's going to do. And we'll look later at how you can kind of customize this as well. And that essentially is object-oriented programming in a nutshell. Really quite simple, gets a lot more complicated though. Thanks very much for watching.